A Karen breaks into my backyard, disregarding boundaries, and lets her kids swim in my private pool without permission. But the shocking twist comes when I catch her two oldest boys peeing in it. Here's what happened, and it's only the beginning of the chaos caused by this entitled neighbor. So I just recently had a new family move into my neighborhood. The neighborhood is relatively small and close-knit, the kind of neighborhood where everyone knows each other and we generally all get along well. We have big block parties and shoot off fireworks together on holidays. The new family is a middle-aged couple with their 4 children. The kids' ages range from around 14 to 2. This incident is just the first of several problems that I have had with this family since they moved in. I was hanging out in the living room just relaxing and watching TV. From the couch, I have a clear view into my backyard. That's when I notice the retractable cover of my swimming pool begin to roll up. I was home alone, and no one else that has access to my backyard. For insurance reason, I have a lock on my back gate because of the pool. The gate always remains locked, as we would be liable if anything was to happen in the yard. I rush outside and see what was going on. That's when I see Karen standing next to my pool with her 4 children. They are dressed in their swimsuits, and Karen is rolling up the cover of my pool. "Excuse me, what do you think you're doing in my backyard?" "My kids have been well behaved today, and they want to go for a swim. I saw that you have a pool, so we are going for a dip." "This is not a public pool, Karen, and you are on my private property. I need you to get out of my backyard now. I never told you that you are allowed to come on my property without permission." "Who the hell do you think you are? It is a very hot day, and my kids want to go for a swim, and they will." "Not in my private pool. They will not. How did you even get in my yard anyway? The gate is locked." "Frick off. In my old neighborhood, we did this all the time. My kids are going for a swim now, and you will not even know we are here. You are just being selfish, and I will not allow my babies to suffer because of your bad mood." I am now in an angry tone. "I will not ask again, Karen. You either get the hell off my property now, or I will call the police. You are not using my pool, and that is final." "Okay, kids, jump on in. Don't listen to this stupid bish." Karen's 14-year-old kid screams, "Yeah, you stupid bish. We are going for a swim now, and you can't stop us." "That it. I am calling the police," I retort. Karen now sees that I am serious and tries to reason with me. "You would really not allow 4 kids to go for a swim on a hot day? What kind of heartless person are you? Just let us go swimming for an hour and we will leave. Don't you want to be a good neighbor to us?" "No, I do not. You just broke into my backyard without permission. Please get off my property now." Karen starts to mumble something to her kids, and then she grabs her 2 youngest kids and starts to walk out of my yard. I then turn around and see her 2 oldest boys still standing by the pool. I start to walk over to tell them to go with Karen, and that's when I see what they are doing. Her 2 oldest hell spawns are peeing into my pool. "Maybe that will teach you to be a better neighbor, you stupid bish." I grab the arms of the 2 oldest and pushes them out the gate. "Get the fuck off my property, you disgusting little shits!" "Don't you dare lay a hand on my babies, or I will call the police on you. Who do you think they will believe? A good mommy or a pathetic little bish like you? You just got what you deserve. Enjoy swimming in your piss pool." They then all walk off laughing as they went back to their house. I was in complete shock, and I didn't know what to do. I now wish I called the police after this first incident, but I sadly did not, and things have since escalated with this family. Remember how I said that I had a lock on the gate? I later found it broken on the ground. I have no idea what they used to smash it, but they were successful. I have since purchased a much more heavy-duty lock. I am going to post more about my experience with the Karen, as this has been an ongoing thing. I will also call the police to file a report. I think many of you are right about that one, and it is better safe than sorry. I believe some of my other neighbors may have already called the police on Karen as well. A lot of people keep asking why I didn't just call the police right away. I am not the best with confrontation and have a hard time handling stuff like this. When people yell at me, I sometimes just shut down and panic. At the beginning of this incident, I really thought that Karen had the wrong backyard since she is new. A few of my other neighbors have pools as well, and I thought maybe one of them had offered Karen use of their pool. Many of my neighbors are very friendly and are the type to offer this kind of thing. I thought maybe Karen had just got the wrong yard. Boy, was I wrong. After the altercation happened, I was just too scared to call. I did lay hands on her kids, and I was worried I would get into trouble for this. I did not think it would escalate the way it did. I didn't think anyone could be this crazy. OP now leaves an update. Here are a few more things that Karen has done to my family and my neighbors since the first incident. Event 2. I came home from shopping the next day and found out that Karen went into my backyard a second time. I was out at the hardware store buying a new lock for the gate when this occurred. Before I had left to go shopping, I asked my elderly neighbor to keep an eye out for Karen just in case. Here is what my neighbor told me happened. She said that Karen and her kids were in my yard playing with my family's lawn games. We have several such as lawn darts, ladder ball, a fake axe-throwing game, etc. She didn't know how long they had been in the yard, but when she noticed them, she went onto her deck and told them to leave. After making a fuss again, they complied and left. Apparently a lot of swearing and a full-blown tantrum was involved. I went into the yard to investigate and see if anything had been taken. Nothing was taken, but most of the games had damage. A few darts were snapped, an axe was broken, and my inflatable unicorn float for the pool was popped. I was livid at this point, and I couldn't believe this happened again. I spoke to my parents about this incident, and I wanted to call the police. My parents told me not to bother, though, that it was just cheap stuff and that I should let it go. They told me that the police wouldn't care about something so trivial. Ultimately, they are the homeowner, so it was not my decision. I did make a point of taking all the broken pieces and throwing them over her front lawn, a few bags of dog waste included for extra fun. Event 3. The entitled kids went into another elderly neighbor's front garden and picked almost every one of her flowers. She had a beautiful garden with roses and other expensive flowers in it. I was my neighbor's pride and joy. She had been working on that garden ever since I was a child. I was walking my dog when I found her crying in her garden as she cleaned up the mess. When she told me the story of what had happened, it broke my heart. I asked her if she was going to call the police, and she said that she already had. They had come earlier in the day and had gone over to talk to Karen. Karen defended her kids' actions by saying that it was her birthday and the kids thought she deserved a beautiful present. Wasn't that lovely of them? She even proudly showed the bouquet off to the police officers. The police didn't do anything other than give her a verbal warning and file a report. Event 4. The neighborhood has a park, only 3 houses down from Karen's home. Instead of walking, they're like a normal person. She would load her kids up in the car and drives them over. There isn't a parking lot at this park, and most people who drive there will park on the side of the road. Not Karen, though she will run over the curb and park directly beside the children's playground equipment. She has done this numerous times, regardless of if there are other people at the playground. She will just honk her horn at you and scream for you to move. I have a video and pictures of her doing this. For the purpose of keeping this anonymous, I am not going to post them as our park has a unique setup. Some of the other neighborhood parents were obviously furious over her actions, and she was confronted about her behavior. I stood with them watching as I was walking my dog at the time, and I was very curious to see how this ended. They told her she could hit a child or animal by doing this. She just started saying we were racist and that we were harassing her. She then went and called the police on us. She was acting very smug by doing this and seemed genuinely proud of herself. She told the group that we were going to be sorry for the way we have treated her since she moved in. As soon as the police came, she began to cry and claim that we had all been harassing her for weeks. She made up a whole bunch of lies about things we had done to her. She even threw herself on the ground and acted like a child. 2 of her kids joined in on this tantrum and the others just continued to play. The police interviewed everyone who was present, and it very clear that she was wrong in this situation. The police pulled her aside and talked to her. She was given a very hefty ticket for reckless driving, and she was told that if this happened again, she would be charged. For once, she was silent and just left with her kids. To my knowledge, she has not done this again since. That is all I have time to tell you about right now, and I better get back to work before my boss notices. I wish I had more time to tell you everything that has happened, but I promise to update again soon. Karen breaks into OP's backyard, lets her kids swim in the private pool without permission, and her oldest boys decide to pee in it. Can you imagine dealing with a neighbor like that? Entitled neighbors kept sneaking into my backyard to enjoy my pool, so I decided to dump it with chlorine, a chemical which is super toxic. Here's what happened. So some backstory, my parents are rich, but don't worry, I'm not one of those spoiled rich kid types. We live in Arizona, near the border with California. We just got out of lockdown, and life is adjusting back to normal. This is a mostly white and Hispanic community, and other races aren't really as common here, so we do our best to be hospitable to them. Also, there is a court case on this, so I'm not using real names because of some law. Actual story. An African-American couple moved in a few months back, and they're really nice. They always helped out in the community, and we're all around nice people. They also threw really nice pool parties for everyone in the neighborhood. We had this thing where every 2 weeks or so, we'd all get together for a party. They had a really nice yard, so everyone looked forward to their turn. The husband traveled for work quite often, and his wife always wanted to go with, so they needed someone to watch their house while they were gone. They knew me, and I was trying to save up for a car. My parents offered to buy me one, but I wanted to earn it myself. This was how the next few months passed. Enter the entitled family. The father was kind of entitled, but after interacting with him a few times after this, I realized he's a pretty chill dude, and just goes along with whatever his wife says. When they first arrived, they got on everyone's nerves by calling the HOA on almost every house on the block. Their kids, who are teenagers, are even worse. Rarely were they invited to the parties. For this reason, they were constantly sneaking into people's yards to play. They didn't have much of a yard. They were always caught, and the police were called several times, but they always worked their way out of it. I have no idea how. Anyway, the nice couple from before called me and said they were leaving in a few days and would be gone for 3 days. I accepted, and the first day went smoothly. As I was cleaning the house the second morning, I noticed the backyard was all messed up, but I distinctly remembered cleaning it up the night before. I checked the security cameras, and it turns out the couple and their kids went into the yard after I went to bed. I don't think they knew I was there. The nice couple would be gone for another day, so I had the great idea to dump an excessive amount of chlorine in the water. For those of you who don't know, pool chlorine is a toxic chemical used to treat pools with algae. The effects don't last very long, but it gets the job done. I assumed the entitled mom and company would return that day, and if they didn't, the chlorine would be gone by the time the nice couple would get back. So no harm done. I was right. Around 2 in the afternoon, I see the parents boosting their kids over the gate, then climbing over themselves. They all were really hyped up about being able to do whatever they wanted, and all of them but the father just jumped right in. Splash! Instantly, they were all screaming in pain. Chlorine causes rapid hair and skin degeneration, so I knew they wouldn't be coming back anytime soon. I burst out laughing, loud enough for them to hear outside, and their bright red faces suddenly paled. They all booked it out of there so fast, they should have tried to join the Olympic track team. The police were called, and I don't know by who. They arrived a little after the nice couple got back. The couple asked why I was laughing, and I showed them the security footage and told them what I'd done. Pretty soon, they were laughing right along with me. The police arrive at the house, and I repeat the process. They don't laugh, but have a hard time holding it in. They go over to the house and question the entitled family. They lie their asses off, even though the cops can see the chlorine effects all over them. They ask if the nice couple wants to press charges, and the guy grins and says, "Absolutely." Wow, that's some dark, petty revenge. First thing that crossed my mind reading your story is, are you not worried even one bit that you told the officers that you purposely put the chlorine in the water to hurt them in case they showed up? It wasn't even your property. You intentionally hurt children, giving them chemical burns because their parents are asshats, instead of just calling the cops and showing them the video evidence. Like, you intentionally and maliciously planned to hurt kids. How is this a win for anyone? Do y'all think this was justified? Let me know down below. A Karen tried to kick me out of the public pool just because of my skin color, claiming I was gonna contaminate it. But when an off-duty cop stepped in, she got what she deserved. Here's what happened. So, y'all ain't gonna believe what happened to me the other day. Picture this. It's the hottest summer day, and I'm a 17-year-old black dude just trying to cool off and have a good time at the public pool in my neighborhood. I got my swim trunks on, shades, and I'm feeling fine, ready to dive in. The pool is packed, but everybody's chilling. Kids playing and splashing each other, and adults just lounging on the poolside chairs, trying to catch a tan. But you know, there's always that one person who's got to ruin it for everybody. That's where this racist Karen comes in. This Karen was an old-aged white woman, and she's there with her grandkid who looks like he's around 10. She's been eyeing me and my friends ever since we got there, but I just brush it off, thinking she's just being nosy or whatever. So I'm just chilling by the pool with my friends, and we're talking about life, school, and all that good stuff. Then out of nowhere, Karen walks over to me with her kid in tow, and she's got this disgusted look on her face. I'm thinking, here we go. Excuse me, but you can't go in the pool? Me was confused. Huh? Why not? Well, I don't want you contaminating the pool with whatever germs you might have. It's just not safe. I can't believe she's saying this nonsense, but I try to keep my cool. Ma'am, I don't have any germs. I'm just here to swim and have fun like everybody else. But Karen ain't having it. She goes off. You people are the reason America isn't safe. You're always causing trouble, bringing drugs, and dirtying up everything you touch. I won't have my child swimming in filth. At this point, my friends and I are shook. Like, is this lady for real? But I ain't about to let her ruin my day. Look, I don't know what your problem is, but I ain't got nothing to do with that. I'm just trying to swim and I ain't dirty. Now Karen's face is getting red and she's starting to cause a scene. Other people are starting to notice what's going on and they're giving her the side eye. I don't care. You people always think you can do whatever you want, but not today. You're not getting in this pool. At this point, I'm fed up with her nonsense, so I just walk past her and head to the pool. But Karen ain't done yet. She straight up grabs my arm and yanks me back like she's got any right to touch me. Yo, don't touch me. I don't know what your problem is, but you need to back off. Now everybody's watching us, and Karen's grandkid is starting to cry because his granny's making a scene. I can see a lifeguard on the other side of the pool talking on his walkie-talkie, probably calling for backup or something. That's when this off-duty cop, who was there with his family, walks up to see what the commotion is all about. He's a tall, muscular dude, and he's got this no-nonsense look on his face. Ma'am, is there a problem here? Karen, trying to play the victim, starts spewing all kinds of lies about me and my friends, saying we were harassing her and her kid, and that we were trying to force our way into the pool even though we were dirty. Well, I've been watching this situation from across the pool, and it seems like you're the one causing the problem here. This young man and his friends have every right to be here and enjoy the pool like everyone else. Karen looks like she's about to explode. Her face is beet red and she's stammering, trying to come up with some kind of excuse. But they're going to make the pool dirty. They're going to bring drugs and crime. At this point, it was clear that Karen was high on something, whose prob's tripping on some perks. The cop wasn't having any of it. Ma'am, I'm going to have to ask you to leave the premises. You're causing a disturbance, and your behavior is not acceptable. Karen starts to protest, but the cop stands firm. He escorts her and her crying grandkid out of the pool area, while everybody else goes back to what they were doing, relieved that the drama is over. My friends and I finally get to enjoy the pool, and we have a blast, splashing around and cooling off on that hot summer day. But man, the nerve of that Karen trying to ruin our day just because she's got some messed up ideas about black folks. I'm just glad that off-duty cop was there to put her in her place, and that the rest of the people at the pool didn't let her get away with her racist nonsense. It's a shame that some people still think like that, but I'm grateful for the folks who stand up against it and make sure everyone gets a chance to enjoy their summer no matter what color their skin is. Oh my gosh, can you believe what OP had to go through? I mean, seriously, this Karen is out of her mind. First of all, who goes to a public pool and tries to kick someone out just because of their skin color? That's just straight up racist and ignorant. And then, when OP tries to explain that he's not dirty and just wants to swim like everyone else, Karen goes off on this crazy rant about how you people are ruining America and bringing drugs and crime. Like, what is she even talking about? It's like she's living in a totally different world. But the craziest part to me is when she actually grabs OP's arm and tries to stop him from going in the pool. Like, who does she think she is? That is not okay. And I'm so glad that an off-duty cop stepped in to handle the situation. I mean, can you imagine if he hadn't been there? Who knows what this Karen would have done? A Karen moved in behind my best friend's house, demanding that her kids had the right to swim in my pool and use my bathroom, oblivious to the boundaries. Fed up with her entitlement, I decided it was time for some sweet revenge. Here's what happened. My partner and I purchased the house next door to my best friend. I had lived with him for close to a decade when his kids were babies, so they viewed my house as an extension of theirs, and were in and out all day, every day. I have a more flexible schedule than he and his wife, so I have them in the mornings after school and on days off of school. I had a pool in my yard, and because my friend's kids were still little, I installed a retractable cover and made sure it was locked so they couldn't open it. My friend's yard had one of those wood fort climbing wall swing set deals and a large sandbox. Throughout the year, we spent most evenings outside, grilling, drinking, and watching the kids play swim whatever. One summer day, I came home from work a little earlier than normal and started to prep for dinner. I heard a knock at my back door, which was odd since my buddy's kids never knocked. I went to see who it was and discovered a mom and two kids who looked to be maybe 7 years old. As I opened the door, she informed me that her kids needed to use the bathroom and that I needed to come out and get the cover off my pool. I was confused and asked her to repeat herself, and she said that her kids needed to pee and that they were hot and bored with playing in the sandbox, so I needed to open up my pool. I asked her why she was in my friend's yard and what made her think her kids were welcome to swim in my pool, or use my bathroom for that matter. She got really bitchy and told me that she had moved into the house behind us and that she had watched my buddy's kids come over all the time and I opened the pool for them. She insisted that since I was willing to open my pool for the kids next door, I should also open it for the children who live behind me. I tried explaining the relationship between my best friend's family and mine. She claimed it didn't matter that I had known them since birth and pretty much had helped raise them. I just needed to get to know her kids too, and it would be okay. I told her no and closed the door on her. She spent a while knocking and fussing at me through the window and then had her kids pee in a planter on the side of the patio. When I still didn't react, she took her kids back into my friend's yard to play on the swings. I texted him to let him know what was going on. Right at the moment, he was letting his 300+ pounds worth of newfies out into the yard without noticing the unwelcome visitors. The mom starts shrieking and climbs up into the fort, leaving both kids on the swings. She starts demanding that we put the dogs inside, and how dare my friend let his dogs out into his own yard when her kids are clearly playing there. He tells her to GTFO and calls the police. When the cops arrived, she put on the whole waterworks about how her kids are just looking for friends, and my buddy's kids are somehow bullying her kids, even though they'd never met. That he invited her over just to let his dogs attack her children, blah blah blah. They eventually move her back onto her own property, then come back later to tell us they warned her about coming back. She lived in that house for almost a year before she and her husband divorced. During that year, I had to replace the lock over the pool cover controls 3 times, have a fencing company remove a gate at the back of my property that was meant to let the lawnmower through, and eventually pay a security company to come check on the yard anytime we were going to be away for more than a few hours. We found her and her kids in our yards repeatedly, but she'd leave when we got home. What finally resolved the issue was my partner catching her in the pool. She told him she knew the man that owned the house and that he had told her it was okay to swim. He told her he was married to the man that owned the pool and that it's not okay to swim. She apparently had a bad reaction to realizing she was immersing her sons in gay water. We didn't see her again after that. From demanding access to OP's pool and bathroom to peeing in a planter and even claiming that her kids were bullied by kids they'd never met, this Karen was off the charts. Can you believe the audacity? Let me know in the comments what you think of this absolutely insane situation.